King Charles, former President Richard Nixon tried to set him up with his daughter, Tricia. King Charles, then still known as Prince Charles, was extremely popular as a single man, and high-ranking political families abroad didn't escape his appeal. Though King Charles is currently married to his great love, the now Queen Camilla, he was previously married to Lady Diana Spencer, the former Princess of Wales. However, before Charles walked down the aisle in 1981, he was considered one of the most sought-after bachelors in the world. A former US president is even said to have tried to set him up with his own daughter. Nixon's daughter was supposed to be at Charles' side. In his new book, royal expert and author David Charter picks up on a story that has already made the rounds in the form of a rumor. According to whispers, Richard Nixon, the scandalous 37th US president, is said to have tried to set up the then Prince of Wales with his daughter Tricia in 1970. At the time, Charles was often described as one of the most eligible bachelors in the world. Opening square bracket ... closing square bracket. Nixon was very fond of the royals. He was obsessed with the royals. In Royal Audience, 70 Years, 13 Presidents, A Queen's Special Relationship with America, David Charter goes on to describe how the Republican was enamored with the idea of his family and the royals moving closer together. Charles should spend as much time with her as possible. The late American president is said to have done everything in his power to ensure that Prince Charles and Tricia traveled together as often as possible, and sat next to each other at every opportunity. This is also consistent with Sally Beadle Smith's descriptions in her book Prince Charles, An Extraordinary Life. She also emphasizes that Tricia was believed to have been totally thrilled. Prince Charles, on the other hand, was not really interested in the pretty blonde. But Charles had a mind of his own. Then Prince Charles is said to have been polite, but also quite annoyed by the politician's daughter. So the matchmaking attempt came to nothing. The fact that King Charles already had a mind of his own as a young adult and prince is shown by his later marriage to Diana and ultimately his marriage to Camilla. Sally Beadle Smith has indicated in her book that the 75-year-old nevertheless remembered this anecdote very well. Many years later, on a visit to Washington with Camilla, he, Prince Charles, was still laughing at Nixon's attempt to set him up. He would not have been the first royal to marry an American woman. In contrast to King Charles, his son Prince Harry succumbed to the charms of an American, Meghan Markle. The two have broken away from the British royals and now live in America. However, this was not a first, and Prince Charles would not have been the first if Nixon's matchmaking had worked. Edward VIII, Charles' great-uncle, and already king at the time, had fallen in love with the American Wallis Simpson, and even gave up the throne for her.